Oh, I think that little red button, don't call me too much of a techie, but when it says live, I think that means we're live. So here you go. We're here again. Welcome back to Clarity Media. We're very happy to introduce you to different things that we're working on, things that are coming up, things that interest us, things that we're poking around, things that don't work. Okay. What worked 2 years ago may not be working today. So we decided to put these coffee mornings together for you. As you see, there's no sponsorship. We don't want sponsorship. We just want to help you out. So if you have any questions, you contact us over. With that, my young fellow partner, we've been getting people asking us about this C.H.O.C thing that we love to talk about. And we often go up to people and go, well, how's your C.H.O.C? And they look at us like an idiot. So do you want to explain to us what it is, seeing as you were the one that came up with the anagram?
Sure. So the idea for it came by how dismissive business owners were of the idea of a website. Whenever we were talking to people about their websites and such, you got the same kind of answer that a lot of businesses have, where they're like, oh, well, I just need a website. And then to be a business, I just need a website. But when you have that kind of dismissive attitude towards building a website, it shows. And so you don't just need a website. And when you have that kind of perspective towards it, it can actually hurt your business and your brand. And so what we did was we wanted to call it something different to help reframe your mind on the value of a website. So we called it a C.H.O.C, C-H-O-C, and it stands for Central Hub of Conversation. And we keep talking about branding being this conversation that we're constantly having with our audience and our clients. And so now we want you to understand that the website, you don't just simply need it, it serves a purpose. And so that purpose is to continue the conversation and be this central hub for facilitating it. So that's why we came up with the term C.H.O.C. And it is just it's a switch in mindset on how you approach a website. And we've seen some pretty horrible websites.
Yeah, we have, and thankfully we've built more than that. So we're pleased with that. On that C.H.O.C, I've often, like anything, everything here today is for interpretation. Take these conversations, take the parts that work for you, ignore the rest. Henry calls it a central hub of conversation. I don't know if it's my narcissism in me, but I like to call it the controlled hub of conversation, because we want to control the conversation that you're having. We want to control the narrative. And here's a little test for you to find out how good you are, okay? And I've often asked people, in fact, I'm actually speaking on this exact subject. I'm keynoting a traffic and conversion in, 2 weeks' time? And we've been going over my presentation, which is funny because I never, ever rehearse presentations. And we've been going exactly over this point of the C.H.O.C. But one of the things that we say to people, and that we're going to be bringing up at the event, so if anyone's at the event, I'm giving a bit away now, is we ask you if you Google yourself. Now, a lot of people see that as egotistical. Why? You check the tire pressure in your cars before you go racing, don't you? So, this is, excuse me, this is life-saving. Pretend that you were going to jump out of a plane. Would you check the parachute? So why aren't people checking you? Google yourself. And then once you've Googled yourself, then do the same thing. Go through Yahoo. I know everyone's like, hey, you want to get me? Yahoo me. No one ever says that anymore, but they all have, all these search engines have different algorithms. So Google yourself, Yahoo, Bing, DuckDuckGo, do all of those with your name and see what the first 3 things are that come up. Now, the number one search engine browser in the planet is Google, okay? So that's the one that, I suppose if you want to have most reference on, but don't dismiss the others, because 9 times out of 10, it's only a little bit of tweaking to be able to make sure you're the same on others. But here's the problem. When you Google yourself, what we first see is the first thing that comes up is your LinkedIn page or your Facebook page or your YouTube page. Basically, we see you on somebody else's platform. Now, what if two things are a problem here. One of them, what if they have a pissy fit and they decide they don't like you anymore? They don't like your hairdo. They don't like your addiction to coffee machines, whatever it is. They just want to get rid of you. You've now lost. How many people out there do you go, oh, do you know someone at LinkedIn? Do you know someone at Twitter? Do you know someone at Facebook? They've struck me off. Henry, how many times do people get accounts closed for no fault of their own, just a mistake? And it happens, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. We set up our Sims Media accounts, and the week later, not yet even having anything on it, we were banned. And so we had to go through that whole crap of getting our stuff back. So it just happens.
It happens. And of course, how much are we paying to be on Facebook?
Nothing.
So we have no control. Do you know, funny enough, when you're not paying, they don't pay attention. You know, this is a free platform where we are the product. So when you want to moan and hold someone responsible, they don't give a shit. They're doing you a favor. Mm-hmm. They can easily ban you for life and not even think about it. So you've got to make sure that you are on a platform that you own. You own the data. You own the eyeballs. You own the story, you own the narrative, you own the tonality. And when you look at it like that, it's your parachute. And people, you're right, people are very dismissive about websites, but let's work through. I always try to think to myself, what's the point? Anything I do, what's the point? What's the point of me getting those tires? What's the point of me getting that audio system? What's the point of me getting that? Anything I look at and I go, what's the point? And with your dismissive, as you explained, concept or viewpoint of a website, you're looking at it wrong. What does a website do? Now, picture the scene. We're in a bar. It's been known to happen. And I'm telling Henry, you've got to get this. It's brilliant. It's wonderful. It's absolutely amazing. And he loves me. He respects me. So he's already kind of, wow, if Dad thinks this is brilliant, yeah, I should get it. Then what's the next steps? Before he's probably got into his Uber to get home, he's pulled out his phone, he's Googling what I've just told him is brilliant, and he ends up on the website, if it goes well. Now, in that structure, the point of a website is to validate what he has already been sold on. It's not to resell. It's not to upsell. I've already told him it's brilliant, but if he gets to a shitty website and goes, well, this looks crap, there's a disconnect. And when there's a disconnect, no. All right? So your website has to be your controlled hub of conversation where you put your best pictures up there, you own it. And if you can't Google yourself and find yourself a number one, you've got to focus on a C.H.O.C. What else should we be? I ranted there. I'm sorry. What else should we be getting into on that?
Well, it's still driving that point home that it's taking control of how people interact with you and the conversation that you're having with them. So like at a bar and you talk about something and then we go search it. Same thing happens when you're on a podcast or if you're on stage speaking, people are going to search your name. And so you want to take control of what they find when they search you. And so if you don't have a website or it's not optimized properly and you're finding social platforms as the first things and not your website showing up, then you are at the mercy of these platforms for being discovered or continuing the conversation. So you need to have the website there to be able to continue that conversation and own how people find you. And from there, it also, it is that play on continuity. When you were saying about the discoverability of you tell me something and then I go and search it up, I need to be able to easily find it and get to that website. But then from there, it needs to still, like you said, be in line with how you were talking about what you recommended to me. So from a branding perspective, there has to be continuity of two things, design and quality. So when you land on that website, the design has to speak to the vibe that's been given off elsewhere, whether it's through referral traffic, whether it's through seeing you on stage, whatever vibe someone's getting when they land on your website should continue. It shouldn't be a harsh contrast of how you appear. So you need to still look the same and have the same vibe in your design when you land on your website. But the quality matters, because if you've just spent an hour on stage and crushed it and people love you and you've built a certain level of trust and connection with the audience, and then they go to your website and it's low quality, it's not had much detail put in it, it just has to be there, then it's like going in reverse. You've given them a little backhand after introducing yourself nicely, and now they've got a little bit of a sour taste in their mouth of, this doesn't seem to be the standard of the person that I thought I was just listening to. So you need to have that continuity of design and quality to make sure that you are showing up the same and to a high standard that matches everywhere. So that's one of the things that it seems to lack when you have that dismissive attitude towards a website, and why it bites you, because someone goes to your website and getting to that point is great. You've obviously got some peak of interest, but if they land there and now it's lower quality and it just has to be there, in your words, then you're going backwards on all that work you've put in to get people there in the first place.
You got another problem. Okay. And again, I work very simple. You know, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but, you know, still quite impactful. You consider that when you go to LinkedIn, when you go to Facebook, when you go to Twitter, when you go to any of these other platforms that have you on it, the first thing they do is they show other people. Other people looked up so-and-so, or you may, like when you send someone to a book, don't send them directly to Amazon, send them to your page first. Why have the competition? If you are a speaker and you are a great speaker and you send someone to your LinkedIn page, you know, other people search for, you're now putting yourself in a room of other people to be compared against. Now, if you are an up-and-coming speaker that doesn't have the notoriety or credibility yet, why do that? Why stick yourself in a room of other people that are probably already killing it, and you're going to lose the traction? So the website, your C.H.O.C, it's your control. It's your narrative, okay? Send everyone there. Once you get on other people's platforms, you're at the mercy of them, and you're at the mercy of them showing other people. Do you really want to go up there and all of a sudden you're going, hey, I'm a great speaker, go to my LinkedIn page, you go there, and LinkedIn go, other people preferred Steve Sims. Do you want that? You know, because I sure as shit wouldn't. But so what are the fundamentals? What are some of the worst things? I know for a start, you know, people out there that have like Hotmail email addresses still on their website, you know, at the bottom, you know, they've got the website for further information, contact, you know, so-and-so at Hotmail. That's a stupid one. Squarespace. Love your Squarespace. I understand the need for it, but still having Squarespace showing on there, it looks like you've left the price tag on there, you know, and i.e. a cheap or a free one. So when someone says to you, and I'll blow it out, we charge anywhere between, on a basic website, on a good basic one website with the good fundamentals and the good engineering in the back so that you can pop up, we charge between, 8 and 12 grand, you know, commonly without any kind of e-traffic. But on a good website that satisfies all of the algorithms for the search engines, we're about 8 to 12 grand. And you will get people out there going, well, I know someone in Pakistan that can do it for 3 grand. I can send you to someone that'll do it for $500, but it won't have any of the backing for it to be able to produce what you need to do. So when you're actually looking at the valuation, and we all know these stories, you know, when you're looking at a price tag and you go, oh, I'm not sure I can afford it, ask yourself the question. This doesn't have to be us. Ask yourself the question, can I afford not to? What devastation is it doing to have my brand show up like that? You know, so it's very, very costly. It really is mammothly costly having a shit view on the website. And then again, as I've always said before, and we were working it out the other day, what's the number one platform that people look up information, Henry?
Google.
Google. And what's the hardware they use to look it up?
Chrome, Google Chrome.
No, the hardware.
The hardware? Oh, a mobile device.
Mobile device. So bottom line of it is people are looking up Google and people are looking it up on the iPhone. So bottom line of it is when you've got your website, and again, try this now. I did this with and I'm doing air quotes here. I did this with an expert last year in T&C that was telling me about branding. And she said, I'll show you my website. And she got out her laptop to show me her website. And I pulled out the phone. And she was like, oh, no, don't look at it on the phone. And I said, well, why not? How long has the website been up there? And she said, well, we've just updated it a bit, but it's been up there for like 5 years. We updated it like about 6 months ago. And I said, well, how is everyone in this room looking at your website? And I made her look around the room. We were in the VIP room of T&C. And she said, well, there's some laptops out there. I said, percentage-wise, 80% of the people in this room are looking on their phone, aren't they? She went, yeah. I said, so 80% of the people are getting their viewpoint of you based on like a 5 by 3 inch screen. That's what I'm going to look at. I'm going to look on the majority of how people consume their media. We opened it up on the phone and it looked like turd. And she opened it up on her laptop and I went, your laptop looks good there, but 80% of this room think you look shit. And she was mortified. She was a branding agency, but hey, we all get caught out and we can't all be as brilliant as Sims Media. There you go. It's my show and Henry, so we can plug any way we like. All right, so we're keeping these short and sharp as usual. When we're gonna finish off on a few bits. As usual, if you've got a question, we had people asking about websites. That's why we brought the C.H.O.C in. If you've got any questions, reach out to us. We're doing these clarity every single Wednesday. So, if you've got a question on anything, ask us. We'll do it. We'll do the live. Again, you got questions, put them in there. I see Pam Pryor's in here. So, hey, Pam, how you doing? She's got a fantastic website, by the way, pampryor.com. Awesome. She's a beast. And I mean that in a beautiful way because I love you, Pam. But so if you've got questions, post it. We'll do those. What else should we finish off, Henry, on the C.H.O.C? What else should they be aware of?
An additional thing with what you were touching on with the mobile interface is usability. You can be at the very low end of a cheap website where things just don't simply really work well. But then you can also go like really far and become too creative and try doing things so differently that people don't really understand how to navigate and use your website. And either of those builds frustration on using your website. So usability is super important. Like it all should look good and display well, but it should also make it very easy that the way it's laid out and designed, that people can get the information they're there to get very simply without much struggle. And when you can cater to that and make it a good experience on there, not only does it look good and match the vibe and quality, but the user experience is still good. So you're still fostering that relationship. So it needs to look good on mobile. It needs to look good on desktop. The way it's laid out needs to help guide the journey of the information that people need, and not create any barriers. So thinking about the form and function of your website is also really important to make sure that you're still catering to building a good relationship and not pulling in any possible areas of angering and disrupting that relationship that you're building with that audience. So the usability of the website. And then do you want to like summarize some of the points of what we just discussed?
Go for it.
Okay. So again, when we talk about C.H.O.C being the central or control hub of conversation, the big thing here is that you are controlling how people find you and how they see you, and then how you guide them even further. So when people are searching on Google and they're looking because you were on stage or on a podcast, control and own that you're the one showing up and that you're not depending on platforms that you're borrowing that attention. This is an opportunity for you to guide people to somewhere where you can control the conversation and not compete with the other recommendations of other profiles and stuff like you talked about. Then it also helps to build and cater to your brand. If people see you and they like the way you look, they like the way you sound, they like the value you're putting out there, and then they head to your website and you've been dismissive and not paid much attention to it, then that's where you're going to go backwards on the work you've already put in to start building someone's interest and trust in you, because now you've just lowered what people perceive you as from the design quality of your website and the usability of it. So the websites, you don't just need a website. If you're looking at it from that perspective, you're going to be rejecting and losing potential clients because they're angry with the experience you're giving them, and it doesn't match up with how you're getting them to the website. So this is an opportunity for you to control the conversation, to have continuity within your branding, and have this hub that everything can be connected within and that everyone can fall to and continue the conversation.
And understand, 9 times out of 10, people are not browsing through the internet. And they don't just fall on you. 9 times out of 10, they come to you because they've heard about something, they're searching something, you're under a keyword search. So by the time they get to you, they're looking for validation of what's already in their head, okay? They don't just go, oh, I'm just going to search this. So you've got to not upset them. It's like Amazon. When you go on Amazon, most of the traffic that goes on Amazon need this. They're searching for that brand, and they purchase it based on ease of completing the transaction. With you, 9 times out of 10, the traffic, and we've seen this, what is it? Probably about 60 to 80% of my traffic comes from they've seen me on a podcast, they've seen me on stage, they've seen me in a bar, whatever. And they've just gone to my website, done the Google, and now it's a validation of who I am. How would you feel for everyone out there that knows me? How would you feel if you went to my website and saw me in a tuxedo at the top leaning up against a library of books? There would be a disconnect of character, continuity, and most importantly, brand. So the website's the validation. Are you losing people? Because by the time they get to that, they're thinking, we're out. All right. I think that's a pretty cool one. I know we're coming up to cappuccino time there, Henry. So I think we've said everything about C.H.O.C. Again, if you need anything, you can always reach out to us at ask@sims.media. And then we'd love to help you out. But if you've got any questions, make a note of it in here. If you've got a question you want us to attack next week, DM us or whatever, and we will actually come back to you and do a video on this for you. All right? Anyway, till next week, see you later. See you for now, Henry.
See ya.